can't believe I'm doing this episode. Wow. I'm glad I'm breaking it up now. Anyway, what's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Never Alone podcast with me, your host and friend, hopefully, Naledi Manju, and thank you for joining me for today's episode and day 13 of WBB. And this is the reflection episode. This is a reflection episode. Obviously, it feels weird to do a reflection within this winter break Bonanza stint, but I think I've always done a reflection moment, I guess, if you want to call it that. So it just feels natural and right to do one now. What's today's? Oh my word, it's Friday. It's Friday today. So it's the 29th. Yeah, it's the 29th of December. So it's there's still a few more days until New Year's Eve. But I wanted to end 2023 in kind of a fun way. So probably going to play some sort of game tomorrow, do an activity, and maybe we'll be outside. But I wanted to record this outside, but I couldn't because it's freezing. Firstly, it's freezing cold, and secondly, there's a bit of a wind situation, so I didn't want to be uncomfortable. Even yesterday, I wanted to record outside, but it was so loud and noisy, so I was like, let me just go inside. So welcome to another episode. Thank you for being here. If you are here, I appreciate you being here and sticking with me if you have for however long. It's somewhat late. Today I had a bit of a early morning. I had a weight session, so I did that, and then I was gonna play I probably will play some tennis early, just serve, a bit of serves, we'll play some music, but that was almost an hour and a half of me just being there, which is longer than usual, but it was nice to do some activity. So we were up and moving this morning. I felt like a zombie I am sleeping later than usual, and I was watching PLL, obviously, and I was watching a documentary, which I'll probably finish today as well, about fungi. And I've been really into documentaries lately, and seeing somewhat of a pattern of nature documentaries. I watched one called Chasing Ice. The other day I watched a body parts documentary, and now I'm watching one about fungi and mushrooms, which is pretty cool. It's really interesting. And Brie Larson is narrating it, so I love Brie Larson. So but I'm enjoying that. So I kind of woke up this morning a bit whoa, I have to wake up because I have a lift. But then I came back and ate some food, and now we are here recording this wonderful episode. So firstly, self-check-in moment. I hope you're well, hope you're happy, I hope you're healthy, and I hope that you are taking care of yourself as you should. And I hope you had a beautiful and amazing day today. If it didn't go so well, happens to the best of us, and that's okay. The sun will rise again tomorrow, and we go again with a good attitude and a positive mindset, because that's what we do. We show up every single day. Once again, thank you for joining me in today's episode. As you can see, if you're watching, on my finger I have toilet paper. This is I don't have a plaster, but I was making food this morning. I had an egg after my workout, egg and some oranges, and I was cutting. I'm usually very careful, but something happened where I cut my finger by accident, so it was bleeding. It looked worse than it actually is, but it just wouldn't stop bleeding. So I kind of just wrapped this toilet paper around it to put pressure and stop the bleeding as soon as possible, so I can move on. But it does hurt. I wouldn't lie, it hurts. It's at the corners of your fingernails, which is the worst pain in the world. So yeah, that's what I'm dealing with right now. And I just ate, watched some YouTube. It's been a pretty chill morning, so I'm happy to be here and recording and talking about 2023. So I thought, because 2023 felt so divided in a way for me, I kind of see it as parts. So this is gonna be part one, and then I'll do part two in the middle of the day later today, and then I'll do the last part tonight when we wind down. But I wanted to talk about part one because it just feels I don't know, this whole year has felt such different like moments and phases that it doesn't even feel like one whole year. So I just wanted to talk about that. So we're gonna talk about part one, and part one for me is like from January till April, like till April. That was part one for me. And part one basically was, oh my word, I have said this before, that I was meant to rewrite my matric exams. I don't know if I was meant to, but well, it was very up and down. So I did register. My mom told me to register because my parents are because they weren't 100%. Well, my mom was pretty sure, but my dad wasn't 100% sure about this whole America thing. But my mom and I, we had been aware of it since like 2021. So she was okay with it, but my dad was like, what? This seems a bit... So they just wanted me to be safe and, you know, have my options open. So just rewrite, because we both know, you and I, that 2022 wasn't amazing. And, you know, my marks aren't the best, you know, marks out there, especially maths and physics. And I could have done better in biology, to be honest, but they wanted me to improve that, especially for the course that I wanted to pursue, which is exercise science. So the plan was to rewrite. So for a long time, that was lingering at the back of my mind, that I had to rewrite my maths exam, rewrite my physics exam and biology. But also, I knew that I wasn't going to do it because I was very confident that this would work out, this America thing. But then again, anything can happen, things change, as we know. So did that. What happened was I missed my date. And it's not like I'd been studying like crazy before. So I missed my date, and I was like, and I had to break the news to my dad, mostly. My mom, I told her, and she was like, oh. And she was like, did you tell your dad? I was like, oh. So I wrote this crazy long paragraph on WhatsApp, and yeah, the rest is history. We're here now, so it doesn't matter. But I remember 2023, the beginning of the year, January to April, I was playing, I think I played a couple of tournaments in Pretoria, because last year was my last year of ITF, so I'm not allowed to play ITFs anymore because I'm too old, but I can play, you know, futures tournaments like 50Ks, 25Ks. So I think I played like maybe three. Did not go well. It was actually really depressing that time, but I remember I was practicing a lot, and also because I think, and those tournaments are expensive, and money is just not something, it's not a luxury to me. So I played a couple of tournaments. I was training a lot, I was in the gym a lot, and I was still like in the very, very early stages of speaking to universities here in the US about, you know, potential scholarships. So it was very like not a lot of work, but more just practicing and going about my day and doing the podcast and just like enjoying my life. Not that there was much to it. Oh, it was fine. I just didn't do anything. And I remember, I think January, March, April, I played 2 futures in Pretoria. That was awful. Like awful in a way that it just didn't go well. Like losing first round main draw, not that I shouldn't even be in main draw, but losing first round main draw, losing first round doubles. And to an extent, I understand that that's what you have to, you go there to learn, but you know, it was tough. So we were there, my friend and I, we were there for a week. No, that's not true. We were there for 2 weeks because there's 2 tournaments. But we lost so quickly that we had to like go home. But it was a moment. I remember being there and was like, I just want to go home. Like, I just want to leave, because it was just like so depressing. And I think, I must actually look back on the episodes, because I was speaking about, because that was a very interesting tour, to say the least, in terms of like how I was feeling with certain things. I'm being very vague, but I want to look back and see, because I definitely spoke about it, you know, and that really, I feel like playing those tournaments was such a, you know, wake up moment. as to me and my tennis and my level and where I want to be in terms of my level and my tennis and my competitiveness on the circuit, if you want to call it that. And it was really hard. I remember I spoke to my cousin about it because I didn't know what to do, and it was a very, not sensitive subject, but it's very touchy. Like, you don't want to, make anyone uncomfortable or hurt someone's feelings in a way, and that's never what I want to do, or I never do that. So it was really weird. It was very strange. It was really weird. But then after that stint, well, okay, I'm not going to talk about that, but I just remember that time being a lot of like decisions needed to be made in a way, and I had to kind of, take initiative as well and take accountability in a way, and just I had to really not take ownership, but really step up in a way in terms of how I wanted to go about things for myself in order for me to improve in my tennis, in life, in so many other things, which was really weird and hard and awkward. It was just like, no. But I managed to do it in some way. In some ways, I managed to do it. In other ways, you just like leave it be. But it was really awkward. But I remember January through April, very chill, very relaxed. Honestly, I remember, what do I remember? Was I training during that time I think I was for a half marathon. I might have been training for a half marathon during that time. So that was keeping me busy. And I remember I just filled my time with working out and doing things for the pod. Not that I did much, there's only so much I can do with what I have, but doing the podcast, that was kind of like my main focus, and, working out and practicing every single day. Other than that, I was just like at home. I would go to the mall occasionally, not buy anything because obviously I don't have any money, but I would go to like window shop and look at things that I could potentially buy if I ever get the money, which is honestly fun to just like get outside. And that was also about the time I started practicing my guitar, as we know, so that kept me busy. But January to April, very slow, very, very slow, and depressing in some ways. I feel like depressing is a very heavy word. I don't mean it as like I was depressed, but it was just very sad, but also not sad, because I was chilling after such a hectic year of matric and trauma of 2022. It was nice to just wake up and maybe have tennis at 9 o'clock in the morning, come back, relax, and then maybe work out. And that was like my day, that was my schedule, and just relax. It was nice to like not have a packed schedule every single day and just chill. So I chilled, I really did, in the beginning of the year, and then only after did things start ramping up a little bit, like May, April till like August, which I'll talk about a bit later. But that's mostly the much I can say about June, April. I wanted to think what was the main takeaway from this moment. I think an important thing that I learned during that time was definitely taking like initiative. I don't know if that's the right word, but taking initiative, being accountable, and somewhat ownership over what I want in a way, so I don't know how to explain it, but for me to get to like a certain level or how I want to perform, I need to do certain things to get me there. And what I was doing was not doing that. So I had to speak up and say, hey, to my coach and say, this isn't working because of this. And then again, you don't want to step on people's toes and, make someone uncomfortable, but it was just like the reality of the situation. Everything's fine now. There's no bad blood or anything. Everything's fine. But at the time, it felt like this is really bad. I felt like because I'm not that type of person to, who loves confrontation to make people uncomfortable. So when I was thinking what I was thinking, I was like, this is like really bad. So yeah, I learned to speak up and voice what I was thinking in order to get what I want, which sounds really bad, which sounds selfish, but I don't mean it in a selfish way. When I say to get what I want, I mean like to maybe improve my level, to improve my fitness, my tennis, whatever that looks like. That's what I mean. That's what I wanted. I wanted to improve. And it just felt like during that time I was so stagnant. Is that the word? But I feel like I hit a plateau and I had not been improving. I hadn't improved in a long time, which is kind of sad. For me, mostly. And you can feel that as an athlete. You can feel, and maybe other people see it, that you're just not, going up, which is, it's tough because you do the work, but sometimes it's just not clicking. So that's what I learned at the beginning of the year. But other than that, I had a good time. Where was my brother? Was my brother home? I don't remember if he was home. I don't know. Yeah, he was. And then we went to his graduation in Cape Town, which was a nice little trip. Not even a trip, but we went for graduation, then we just like drove right back. But yeah, that's all I have to say for now. We'll chat later about part 2 of 2023. What am I about to do now? It is currently 1 o'clock, 2 minutes past 1. And I'm gonna go to Publix because I'm gonna buy some food. I'm drinking my tea here. It's got sugar, obviously water, and ginger, but it's missing a very, very, very important component. And that thing it finished yesterday and I was so sad. And that is lemon juice. So I'm gonna buy I've got a few things to buy. Onion, lemon juice, maize meal. We're making lasagna today, which is crazy. I was gonna have Chick-fil-A for dinner, but Chick-fil-A is closed, so that sucks. So I'm gonna make a lasagna. I've never made lasagna before, so this is gonna be your first time making lasagna. I don't think it'll taste bad. I just think it won't be the best thing ever. But I'm excited to have it. I'm excited to make it later today. And what else am I gonna buy? I said lemon juice, onions, what else? There's more. I know there's more. Eggs and a couple other things. So make a nice little trip to Publix and see what I can get there. So yeah, we'll talk soon. I feel like I just had the best sandwich of my entire life thus far 20 minutes ago. So basically, a lot has happened since we last spoke, but for you it's just, another regular episode. But I just ate a sandwich. After I recorded part 1, the beginning of this episode, I went to Publix, had a bit of a mission at Publix. And I was at Publix buying what I needed. I bought onion, lemon juice, all the essentials, and obviously, naturally, I bought what was not initially on the list that I had made, but I feel like it was important to buy. So I bought like a cooking sheet type thing, like a pan, but it's to make bread. So I haven't had bread in a long time, and that's not a bad thing, but I don't enjoy making bread, but I feel like at some point I want to make bread here. So I bought flour, I bought yeast, and you only need salt and sugar. So it's pretty simple to make bread. So I'll probably make bread maybe like next week to give it a try. So I bought that for that. Didn't buy tea. I didn't buy maize meal foam pork because they didn't have maize meal. They had like cornmeal. I was like, I don't know what this is. So I'm gonna go to Walmart to get maize meal. I think from Iwis. But yeah, I had a sandwich. It's like this roll thing, and I put obviously butter, this Christmas jam. Now this Christmas jam, I kind of knew already it was strawberry jam, and I love strawberry jam and cheese is literally the best thing in the entire world. It is I could eat that every single day, but I don't, obviously. And basically the family that I spoke about, yesterday's episode, who was so nice to me, bought me a few things just to like have snacks, and it was so helpful. You know, because obviously money is very, very, very low and scarce. We know this. And they bought me this Christmas jam. I was like, what is it? And then I knew it was strawberry jam. And then they bought me cheese as well. So I made a jam and cheese sandwich type thing, and it was so good. More just like eat something, snack on something. And then I obviously had my licorice and stuff like that. So yeah, I had a really good sandwich. And I've just been sitting here. I ate my sandwich. I watched a bit of YouTube, and I'm about to, in like 20 minutes, start making my lasagna. Now this is the first time making lasagna, so, and I was thinking about making a reel, but it is honestly such a drag. No, I mean, I love making the reels of like recap days and fun days, but making a reel while cooking is a nightmare. It is like, because you have to set up the phone, record and do what you do, and then put it off, and it's like, ugh, it's, I don't know, I don't, and I'm making, it's my first time making lasagna, so I'm like, let me just like make the thing and not think about having, you know, a phone put there or whatever. So I'm probably gonna listen to some Percy Jackson while I do that. But that's not what this is. This is part 2 of the reflection of this year. Part 2, what did I say? I said part 2 would be like April, May till August, and that's part 2. Now this part of the year was interesting, to say the least. I would say this part was the most hectic and busy and just stressful, because after my little stint with like tennis, and now in like April, May, things are starting to move in terms of like universities are getting back to me, and I need to essentially choose and not make a decision, but like talk to a bunch of coaches and hear about the universities and just like communicate with the agent who's, you know, helping me. She was the best, by the way. And it was just like a lot, you know. And at this time, I'm speaking to my mom about it a little bit. She obviously is aware, but I think she knows that it's up to me. But as long as it was a full scholarship, then she was like, whatever. So I'm speaking to these coaches and I'm saying, yeah, I like this one, maybe not this one. It's just a lot of back and forth. And then there were a few that I kind of went more forward with and stuff like that. And then long story short, I ended up on like a decision with where I'm now, App State. And then the real work began. Because it was such a nightmare in terms of like documents. And obviously I needed an American visa for whatever. So to have documents and to get my visa, I'm not going to recap my visa story, but if you go to, I'll say a little bit, but if you go like back episodes, there I talked about it, and it was a nightmare. It was really bad. Not really bad, but I felt very bad, because basically what happened was, or was it Portugal? No, I'm pretty sure it was America. No, it was Portugal. That's my bad. Oh my word, did I go to Portugal this year? I completely spaced out. I did go to Portugal this year. I completely forgot about that. I went to Lisbon, Portugal to play the BJK Cup. That was, oh gosh, I don't even want to think about that, because that was, you know, really, not really bad, but it was a good experience. But I think I took a lot of what I'd learned, a lot of what happened on that tour I take with me. Some I try to forget, but I think, you know, I try to remind myself of things that I'd learned on that tour. And if you go back episodes, I think it's called, what is it called? Another trip recap, or Europe recap, something like that. Or was it called I don't know, Portugal recap, something like that. And that was tough. I forgot about that, because I remember that was a nightmare. Because getting a visa, I had to go to Cape Town and we had to drive. And during this time, my mom is going to work, and, you know, then again, money is just not a luxury at this point. Never is. So it's so much petrol to get there and to come back. 6 hours drive. And I had an appointment. I remember this was for Portugal. I had an appointment like at 9, and bring all my documents, and then something was missing. And then I just couldn't get my thing, and I was like, what the heck? And then we have to go again in like a couple of days. and my mom has to it's not easy to just leave work. You have to obviously report to someone and say, hey, I need this couple days off, or like a leave for this day because whatever I'm taking. And my mom had to do that so many times, and I felt so bad. Like, I felt awful. And I remember I made a voice note about it because I remember it was like 2 o'clock in the morning and we were leaving, and I was like, I feel horrible. And I was saying that this has to work. The second time we went, I was like, this has to work. Like, I have to get my visa, this time. Luckily I did. And then spurts, because I remember when we came back when we came back the first time from Cape Town, it was like silent. And obviously we don't talk much, but there was definitely something in the air, like a tension. And I remember I was on the phone with the director of who was, doing this thing, and I was talking to him saying, I went there, but they said I was missing something, and when we came back the second time and, everything went smooth and it was successful, our spirits were definitely higher and much better. But I also felt bad because my brother came the first time and literally sat in that room. And if you get a visa, like, sometimes it goes quick, sometimes it goes super long. And I sat in the room for more than 3 hours. And to not get a visa after sitting there, and my mom and my brother couldn't come in with me, so they sat outside in the corridor on the floor. I know, it's bad. And I was like, this is like the worst thing. And then walking out and seeing them on the floor and saying I didn't get it. And she was like, what do you mean? I was like, oh my gosh. Anyway, long story short, not a good experience with visas. So then we had to go again for my American visa. Luckily, this one was super quick. But it was still like we have to drive so far to do all this stuff. And you have to make sure that you have all the correct documents that you need. Nothing is missing, so that you get this thing and it's done, whatever. And it costs money. Like, it costs a lot of money. So I also felt bad because I'm not paying it. My mom and my parents are paying for this stuff. And I just felt really bad because even during this like college process, a lot of money was spent for many different things. Like, I think sevies, just like a lot of things that needed to be paid. And also for visa. And I was like, dang, this is a lot of money. And there was a point where I thought, is it worth it, like, spending this money? But then I thought, if I'm getting a full scholarship, then my parents don't have to worry, for the most part, about me, and money in particular. So I felt at ease in that way. But flights back home is still expensive, but that's another whole other thing. But it's just super busy in terms of like documents, just so many documents. And that's all I can recall from, all the way up until, where was I? April, May, till like August. Just January, March, April, May, June, July, August. Yeah, just like so many documents and traveling, kind of. Yeah, this thing is still on my finger. If you're watching, you're like, you still have toilet paper on your finger? Yo, my finger is like bleed. I thought it would stop by now, but every time I take it off, it starts bleeding again. And I'm like, what the heck? And you might think, just get a plaster. I don't have money for a plaster. So there's like a toilet paper thing on my hand. Oh no, it's a tissue. Same difference. Anyway, so this was a very busy time. But I would say end of July, August, it kind of died down because everything was basically sorted. Everything was basically sorted of like communicating with the university upstate of like what I need, and communicating with the international department, who was so good here, and so helpful to international students, because I think they understand that it's hard, to like just get your things in order and to come here and be like secure and safe, and just making sure you have all the right things. And everything was fine. Booked my flight. The flight, whoa, so expensive. Like, it makes me shrink. And it was a one way, which makes it even worse. But it was still, it's a lot of money. Like, it's a lot of money, and that irks me so much to think that. And they don't really pay us here, so I can't really save up an amount. Even if I did save up, it wouldn't be enough to pay, for a flight back home. so that's tough. But paid the flight to come here one way because I kind of knew in the back of my head that I wasn't gonna go home for Christmas because it's like 2 weeks. Like, no, it's not worth it. So yeah, but towards the end, once my flight was booked, once everything was fine, we were kind of chilling. It got to a point of counting down the days of me leaving. I remember my friend and I, we would have not many, but she would pick me up from my house to go practice because we practiced together. And there would be times in the car, because I left a week earlier than she did. There would be times in the car where we would be like, I'm leaving in a week, and my whole life, for the most, a little bit, my life is about to change not really, but yeah, it is a change, essentially. It is a change into a different phase or whatever. And it was like, we were talking about how crazy, and basically most of our lives have most of what we've done in like our tennis career has led up to this point, and now we are here, because that's always the goal. Obviously the goal is to play professionally on the WTA circuit, which is tough, and you have to, I think, you have to sacrifice a lot money wise, and you just not hope, but you just really go for it. And I guess just right now I'm not in the position to do that necessarily, so the next best thing is to get a full scholarship in the US and pursue your college career, because there's so many opportunities there's more opportunities here than back home, wherever you come from, South Africa, Namibia, Zimbabwe, wherever. So it feels like coming here is like the next step, and then using what you learn in this, like during your college career, and maybe in your college career you get an opportunity, and anything can happen. So to think that we were so close to that point of like where we had wanted to be for so long was like kind of surreal. But at the same time, I feel like I was feeling it, but also not really, because my friend, she's definitely more, not nostalgic, but I reminisce a lot, but she was definitely feeling it a bit more. Me, I was like, I'm just gonna go away for a bit, but I'm gonna come back soon, you know what I mean? And that's still how I see it, how I view it, as like, I'm just like on this long tour, but I'm gonna go back home to like my normal life and chill, and then I'm gonna come back on tour and do whatever, and then go back. That's kind of how I see it in my brain. So yeah, we're kind of chilling, and then what was happening? We practiced a bit, and then like the last week, I remember the last week before I left on the 12th, which was a Saturday. Yeah, it was not even like saying goodbye to people, but just like soaking things in, but also not really. I'm not like, I don't know if it's like a me thing, but and when I say soaking things in, it was like going to practice on the Monday and being like, we're practicing, and I only have 1 week left, and my coach constantly bringing it up, saying, can you believe that you're leaving? And I'm like, yeah, it's crazy. It only started to hit me, I guess, towards the end of the week, where I saw my friend for the last time, and we said goodbye to one another, and we're like, we'll see each other soon. We're gonna see each other soon. So yeah, we said our goodbyes, and I think that Friday, was it Friday? Yeah, it was Friday. And I think my mom, she kind of told me that, yeah, she didn't really say to my face, we are having a go away party type thing. It was more of just like this build up of like, yeah, umakazi, your aunts are gonna come, umalume are gonna come, people are gonna come. I was like, okay. But it turned out to be this whole like, it was nice. It's like a nice get together thing of like my whole family. I don't love being the center of attention, because it just feels like, it doesn't have to be this way. But I don't know, it was just like a weird thing to have like a party type thing, or get together or family that's for you going away. And I didn't know how to like act, or, well, I knew how to act because they're my family, so I am myself, but I didn't know how to feel. And there was a time doing that, it was really fun. There was so much food, dancing, music, lots of family members came. So it was nice to, I mean, I see them pretty often, but it was nice to have everyone together in one space. And then things got emotional. Things got emotional in the nighttime. And I'm a one to get emotional often, especially about real life, which sounds so dark and depressing, about like real life things. But this got me. It got me a little bit. I cried a little bit. Obviously happy tears. It wasn't like I don't want to go. It was like, wow, I felt you feel so loved in this moment, and you know, you like know your family loves you, but when they actually like do something, and that takes somewhat quite a bit of preparing because everyone has their lives, and they, you know, take the time to be with you in like a space. You feel I appreciate that a lot. And people said a few things, and I was like, wow. I was like, whoa. For the first time probably ever, I felt like, whoa, you know. But then the next day, obviously everyone left that night, and then some people stayed, and I ate more cake, as one does, played more music. The next day I was leaving on my way to the airport. Some of my aunts stayed, and then we were at the airport, and we were chilling, took a bunch of pictures, as one does, and then I was on my way. My mom came with me to Joburg, shame, which was really nice. But oh my word, I forgot something. Have I said this before? Goodness. Yeah, everything was fine. Obviously something had to happen. So when I don't know if I said this, but basically I got robbed. I got robbed in a way. Something happened where something like money was stolen from me, a lot of money, and it was so scary. I want to say I got scammed, but I didn't buy anything. Anyway, essentially I got robbed in Joburg. Something happened with my card, and all the money just went away, which was terrifying because now I'm going to this place with no money. But I had some money in like another card, which imagine I didn't do this thing. I like transferred into another card, whatever. But imagine I hadn't done that. And I remember being, wow, this was a roller coaster. I forgot about this completely. But I remember being in Joburg airport, and I was saying to my mom, like, what is that? Something's happening to my card. And I remember trying to report for fraud on the app and block my card, but nothing was like working. Then all my money gone. And my mom was like, what happened? I was like, I have no idea. And we were trying to retrace the steps as to where this could have possibly happened. And the only time I recall using my card was when was it? Was when I was in George buying petrol. That was the only time I used it. And yeah, it was actually really scary. And that's why even now I'm so scared about using cards and keeping money in cards. Because it's like, you know, it's pretty scary when that happens. And I remember I felt so bad because I'm there. I remember we were running, I was running, went to the police, try to report something, and then I kept running back and forth to the police, to the bank, to the police, to the bank, because they were telling me to do this, find this, get this, find this. And you might think, when are you flying? I was flying in the nighttime, so there was a bit of time. I remember I was sitting in the bank building for like a long time to this lady saying this, and basically nothing got resolved. I obviously opened a case. First time I'd opened a case at the police department. It was really weird. But I was like shaking because it wasn't like I felt bad for myself. I felt bad for my parents because that was their money, you know, their money that has now been just like stolen and taken away. And I felt so like, I felt awful. That was probably the worst I felt. And then I remember my phone was like gonna die, and I had to like take out my charger and plug it in on the side at sorry. Hold on 2 seconds. Sorry, the aircon just like switched on and I think it's so loud. actually. So where was I? Basically, anyway, sorry, that was a long story. I just felt really bad. And I've noticed that I'm not, as of late or the last couple of years, I'm less concerned about myself and I'm more worried about the people around me. So if like money was stolen from me and it was my money, I would have been like obviously sad and been like, oh my word. But like then again, it's mine. It's not like someone else's. But the fact that it was someone else's and my parents, and I know that they work hard for their money, I felt like, oh, this is really bad. But then my mom told me, don't let this, get to you or distract you. You're on your way to America. You've done well. You've done so much to be here, to get here. So don't let this. What did she say verbatim? She said something like, don't let this like worry you or whatever. And I was like, okay. And I literally almost started bawling my eyes out. I remember I started tearing and I was like, what the heck? But I almost started like crying because I was like, oh, this is so bad, this is so bad. But yeah, that what she said to me kind of helped her trying to like think bigger picture, you know what I mean? And not let this, obviously it wasn't tiny, but let this thing that happened, because obviously bad things happen in life, it is what it is. But when she said that to me, I was like, yeah, yeah. And that is that. And I was on my way to the US. It was a 16-hour flight from Johannesburg to Atlanta, which is crazy. I watched, what did I watch? Because I remember when I came back from Portugal, I was having a Harry Potter marathon, and then I didn't watch the last two movies. And then I said, I'm gonna watch the last two movies on my way to America. So that's what I did. And then I watched the first movie again and the second one again. I always have like movie marathons on planes. So yeah. And then I slept. I think I read a bit. I think I journaled as well. I like to journal on a plane. It's really nice. I did read quite a bit, but that was part 2. That was a long part 2, sorry. But what I learned, I guess, from part 2, a big thing was bad things happen, and like my mom said, don't let this, small little thing derail you from like the important thing, the main path, and think bigger picture. And so a lot of bad things happened during this time, a lot of unfortunate, a lot of lessons learned. And another lesson that was learned is, what was it? I even wrote it in my journal. It was feel the fear and do it anyway. Because I remember this time being so stressed and scared and fearful? I was just like, I was so scared. And I remember I did an episode where I said I was like, I'm terrified. And I don't even know of what I was scared of. Probably failure, of disappointing people around me because of like the efforts they had put, into me, allowing me to be where I am today. But I was just like consumed by fear, and it was really like it was very bad. So I remember there was definitely a significant moment where this happened. And I wrote in my journal, feel the fear and do it anyway, and that's a big thing for me, because even now I'm not like completely fearless being here. There are moments where I'm scared and terrified, but I remind myself, feel the fear and do it anyway, and that you're, stronger than you think you are, because I think I'm a weakling. But no. It's just, it was a lot I was very scared. I don't even know what, but I was just like consumed by fear during this time. So just accepting that these things happen, bad thing, not everything is going to be smooth and sailing, whatever. And just keep moving forward. As I say, keep showing up. I always say at the beginning of almost every episode, if it didn't go so swell, happens to the best of us. It happens to the best of us. And I definitely need to take my own advice sometimes, a lot of the time, and remember that the sun will rise again, and you just go again the next day, because that's what we do. We keep showing up. That is what we do. But y'all, I'll be back for part 3, the final part. I'm gonna make some lasagna, just like prep a bit, and then take a shower, and then we'll come back and wind down. Modemol. we can get too comfortable. Yeah, when I get too comfortable. So the last part of this little 3-part year is obviously the rest of the year. What is it? Where was I? Oh, August, September till now, December 2023. And before getting into that, obviously, it's been a significant amount of time. I'm not gonna act like I've been recording for, the whole entire day. I managed to make my lasagna. It's actually not bad. I mean, aesthetically, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look great. You know what I mean? But it's edible. It tastes decent. I think I put too much oil, which I didn't expect would happen. But you live and you learn, But I'm sorted now for dinner for the next almost week. For the next week, I'm sorted for dinner. So I'm very happy about that. So I feel very grateful to have eaten food. So I just ate some dinner. It is actually very late for me. Usually around about this time that I'm recording this right now, this part 3, I would be in my bed watching PLL, aka Pretty Little Liars, if you don't know. But I'm here recording and then I still need to edit this and post. So I'm probably gonna go to sleep at past 11. No, that's not true, because I still want to watch Pretty Little Liars. It is Friday, so I'm watching Pretty Little Liars, and then I don't watch on the weekends, because that's movies for me, reserved for movies. But yeah, ending it off, the last stretch of 2023. Obviously, I've been here in the US, and it's been quite the the fridge isn't making so much noise, but it's switched off now, thank goodness. It's been obviously a huge change, and last we spoke, I was obviously on my way here. My mom only came with me up until Joburg, and then she stayed at a hotel close to the airport and then flew back the next week back home. And we did message her, and then she just wanted to know how I was doing, and I said everything's good. And I came here a week early, before the term started, because I had orientation. So I was in this apartment alone for a bit. Well, my roommate was here, but my teammates weren't here. And it's been not smooth sailing, I would say. I'd say in the beginning, it was definitely I don't even know how to describe it, because in terms of going to classes, college, university classes, it felt the same as going to I was saying to someone that it feels like high school again. And I don't know if it's because of the way our classrooms are set up. It doesn't feel like, a huge auditorium of massive lectures. It's just a classroom, Obviously there's many different elements now. I like the schedule, it's very more loose-goose, but also not loose-goose because of tennis and lifting and all that stuff. But I feel like I adjusted pretty decently. People ask me, especially I remember the first couple of weeks, I feel like I was introducing myself so much. I had never ever said my name. I had never ever said my name so much in a week than I did during that time, those first couple of weeks. Because I'm just hi, my name is Naledi, or just say it in a way that people would, hear what I say, but I have to repeat it 5 times, because it is Naledi, but I'm whatever. People still get it wrong, but I'm you know what, it's okay. And I just remember I was I've never said my name so much, and my family members don't even call me by my name, they call me something else. So even when someone says Naledi, I'm I obviously respond, but I'm not used to being called my actual name, which is a weird thing, you would think. But if I think about it now, my mom doesn't really call me by my name. My brother, my cousins, my aunts, no one calls me by, no one says Naledi, they say something else. But coming here, I kind of expected it to be, obviously you have this expectation of what it would be like to come to a completely different country, and pursue your dream and, study abroad. and you have this idea of what it would be like, what it would feel like. I came in knowing it's going to be hard, it's going to be different. But then at the same time, it wasn't exactly what I expected. It was definitely difficult. I remember that first training day. Who was I? I was talking to someone, and I said that that first day, because our practices were 2 hours a day, and I wasn't like, I was also used to having an hour and a half squats, practicing for 2 hours, so it wasn't like a crazy thing. But I remember that first day I was dying. I remember my feet were burning. It was just like awful. It was definitely like a shock. But then I obviously learned how to pace myself during practices and not, obviously you give 100%, that's the goal, but you want to save your energy and pace yourself so that you last, the whole practice, and that you're still giving 100% by the end of the practice. So a lot of learning. I remember and I had so many blisters on my feet, and it was kind of like a shock. And then I was like, I have to do this day in, day out. But then once you get into it, it's like, oh, this is just what it is. It's part of my routine. This is what it is. But now I'm here, it's December. It feels like this semester has gone by so quickly, but at the same time, because when you're in it, like I remember going to my first or second tournament, you're in it feels super long, and when you're in classes, it feels super long. But then obviously when we finished the last tournament, I was like, oh, we're like basically finished the semester, and it felt like it went by so quickly, but it didn't, but it also did at the same time. That makes no sense, but I hope you understand what I mean. And then towards the end, I was just chilling. But I would say this semester, I remember people would ask me, how are you feeling? Are you homesick yet? And I was like, I don't know. I don't think so. Because I think of it as like, obviously it's different. I mean, I'm in a completely different country. This way of life is not what I'm used to. But in terms of like being independent, I guess, and, not like completely separating from my mom and living independently, but just like being independent in some ways, making food on my own, just being on my own. I was kind of used to that at home, and obviously when you play tennis, you travel a lot, and you are away from home quite a bit. So I was kind of used to that way of life. So when I came, I was like, as I said in the beginning or in another episode, this just feels like a very long tour, and that I'm gonna go home in a couple of months and be with my family again and go back to my normal life, so coming, I haven't felt homesick necessarily. Obviously, I miss my family, I miss seeing familiar faces and waking up in my own bed, like those things I miss, but it hasn't been to like a crazy amount of like, oh my word, I cannot be here now. And maybe that point will come, maybe it won't, I don't know, but I'm just taking it day by day. I phone my mom and, message my cousins pretty often. I send my cousin like funny memes and weird pictures of myself, and that's how we communicate. That's just how we communicate. And I also think I wouldn't say it's an essential, time of life to live on your own and figure things out for yourself in a way. But I think, I don't know what I think, actually. I don't know where that was going, but this is just, I feel fine. Honestly, I feel fine. Obviously, there are moments where I'm like, damn, I really wish I was at home, And it's like, ugh. But then it lasts for like a moment, and then you're like, I don't know how to describe it, but I'm gonna go home soon, which is okay. And I'm gonna see them again, and then I'm gonna go back to a normal life. Like I said in one of the episodes, literally when I go back, it's gonna be me going back, and my mom's probably gonna be at work, something like that. But I'm landing in Cape Town, so she'll have to pick me up. Then we're gonna drive, and then she's probably gonna like ask me, how was it? And then it's gonna be over. Like within a day, it's gonna be back to my normal life, and me waking my bed, and I'm going to work. It's not like she's gonna take time off to like spend time with me, which sounds really mean, but I'm not offended whatsoever. But maybe like on the weekend we'll do something together with my other aunt, and I don't know, but it won't be like a crazy thing. And in a way I prefer it like that, because that's what I'm used to, just like going back and living my normal life. whatever that looks like, and just relaxing and being home and watching movies and going to the mall and stuff like that. So yeah, I think in terms of lessons this semester, pacing myself has been a very important one. Where's my shoe? Yeah, I don't have my shoe. Wait, where are my shoes? Oh, I think they're in the room. But so I'll get to why I was looking. I'll get to why I'm looking for my shoe. Pacing myself has been really important, and taking it day by day, because it can get very daunting to be like, we see our schedule and you look at all the things coming up and you see like conditioning Monday, practice, and then weights, and you just see all these things and you're like, oh my word, how in the world am I going to get through all of this? It feels like, it literally feels like, oh my word, I'm going to die this week. But I think what has helped me is just take it day by day, take it as it comes, because it is hard, it is difficult, and I obviously have my own struggles with me and a bunch of other stuff, so that obviously affects me. But if I just take it day by day and look at what's going on today and what I need to get done today, it helps. I wouldn't say it fixes the stress, because it definitely does not, but it does help to just take things as it comes and be like, oh, I have this class, and not thinking about how I have like a 2-hour practice session in the afternoon, and we'll deal with that when that happens. So I think that also relieves stress, for me at least, but it's also nice to know what's coming at the same time, but not being obsessed with like, oh my word, this is going to be a very hard week, And another thing, there was something I wanted to say, but I can't remember. And it was a big one. It was a big one this semester. Okay, I completely forgot. But I will say another thing that has been, let's say it has been tough, is finding community. Now, this is not news to anybody, well, to you guys, but it's always been hard for me to, let's say, make friends. And I feel I'm a pretty shy person, and I don't know, I just don't feel comfortable being like super out there. But at the same time, I am super out there, like in my family. I'm very open, I'm pretty loud, like I like a lot of things, music, singing, dancing, all these stuff. So I'm pretty loud and pretty out there, but that's because they're my family and I know them pretty well, and they know me as being like this weird person and super random. But when it comes to like people I don't know, it's so like iffy. So I wouldn't say I'm at a point now where I found a solid like group of friends, or obviously I have friends, but I wouldn't say it's like tight knit. I consider my teammates my friends, and then there's some other people who I think are friends, but I wouldn't say it's like solid. But I really, I like knowing them. That sounds very bad, but I don't know how to articulate it well. But I'm not like bothered by that at all. Like I remember people asking me when I told them that I'm gonna stay here during the winter break. Oh my gosh, my bottle won't open. I'm gonna stay here during the winter break, and everyone was like, "Oh, are you sure? Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm okay." I was so confused as to what the concern was. Because for me, I'm so okay with being by myself. I get to do what I like to do, the podcast, I get to read, I get to play music, I get to be outside and just do whatever I want by myself, and not necessarily have to worry. Not that I need to worry about, having someone else there, but I was like, this is the best thing ever. So I'm pretty comfortable with being by myself, eating by myself, going places by myself. But obviously, it's also nice to do certain things with people, but it's a learning thing. I'm still learning, and obviously being in a completely different country, and you just don't know like what the vibe is, what if you're gonna gel with people or not, or what's going on. Just everything is different. So that's still a work in progress, but everyone is super nice here. I'm not saying it's so difficult to make friends. Everyone is so nice and so open. It's a me thing. It's no one else's fault or issue or problem. It's a me thing. It's like, so I don't want, yeah. What was that thing I was thinking about? I'm actually so annoyed that I can't remember what this was. Was it lessons? No. Yeah, I can't remember, but whatever. Definitely, what was it? Definitely had a bit of a moment this semester. You can recall if you've been listening that I went through a bit of a rut, a mental rut, and that really got to me. And I kind of have found peace with that's what's gonna happen. Eventually, things like that happen, and you must just move through it and accept that this is happening and trust that this is all part of the process. But that was really bad. I remember that was really bad. And I always try, when I get into those ruts, I try my best to never get to that point again. But that's not never guaranteed. You just hope that you're able to deal with it better and acquire tools so if that or when that thing happens again, you have these tools to, address it and tackle it and go through it. But it was tough. It was really hard, I remember. And yeah, strange. Where's my journal? Sorry, let me reach for my journal. Because there was something in there that I want to, because there's not much to recap. I mean, we played a couple of fall tournaments, which went well. Some went better than others, which is what happens in life and in tennis. And yeah, it was an experience to play college tennis for the first time. If you don't know, that's why I'm here basically. And obviously to get my degree. But college tennis is how I got to this point. So it went well. I'm excited for the next season. Yeah, the spring season, sorry. Because that's like our main season. That's when we have conference, I'm pretty sure. So I'm excited to get into that environment and see what that's like. I know, yeah, it's not going to be easy, but I'm excited to play, I guess. I don't know. I'm actually so angry that I can't remember this thing because it was a big one. I remember it was a big one. Anyway, as we're wrapping up, I thought I should think about a word. And obviously we're going to talk about word for 2024, but a word for 2023. Like, what word for me would completely sum up, this light is so bright, would sum up this year perfectly, I would say. Oh, not perfectly. Obviously, there's many words to maybe part 1, part 2, part 3, but all in all, what was the word? And I kind of was thinking about this because who was I watching? I think I was watching Morgan Riddle. I don't know if that's his surname. I say Riddle all the time. But Morgan on YouTube, and she was doing her vision board situation, and she was saying a word for 2024. And I was like, I don't know what. Oh, was she saying a word for 2023? Yeah, and I was like, let me do that. So shout out Morgan, but I think my word for 2023, or let's say words, even though they're basically the same, they are the same thing, is change and transition. I almost said transaction. No, change and transition are my words for 2023 because a lot of change happened. Obviously, I moved to a completely different country. I'm living without my mom for the first time ever. I'm, by myself, basically. And, studying, back at school. Goodness. Back at school. And just a lot of change, a lot of transition, obviously, and it's been interesting. I wouldn't say people have asked if I've settled in here. I think during this winter break stint, it has helped me become more familiar with the town. Not, crazy familiar, but more familiar than I have during the fall, because obviously we were in school practicing and busy, so I just had no time to like do anything or go anywhere. But I have spent a lot of time walking this winter, just so I can see, you know, what Boone is about and whatever. So I think I'm more comfortable or more familiar with the place than I was like a month ago, which is nice. What else? I'm trying to think. I don't know where to go from here. But that's the words of 2023. I'm not going to say the word, I don't even know the word of 2024. I haven't thought that far because I still need to do a journal reflection. I love reflecting in my journal at the end of every year. And setting goals for 2024. Now look, I have big aspirations and, you know, goals for 2024. But before getting into that, that'll be another episode. Let's talk about the pod. Let's talk about us, me and you. How far have we come? Now, I don't have any like analytics or stats or whatever here, but I would say, how was this year? I'm trying to think if this year was the year we started season 3. No? Was it? I don't know. Maybe. It might have been. But I've had the best time. I mean, it's no secret that I love doing this. Well, if it was before, it's not now. I love doing this. Probably nothing comes out of it in terms of like, you know, other stuff. But for me personally, I've said this all the time that this little thing that I'm doing is like the joy of my life. I think having no one, well, there might be people watching or listening, but having like the inclination that no one's watching or listening is also kind of liberating, because obviously I can say and talk about whatever I want to talk about, which is nice, but kind of being deluded and thinking, oh, there are many people watching as well, also is nice, I guess. I don't know, that probably contradict each other so much. But if you are here right now listening, thank you for sticking with me and for being here. However long you've been here, there we go. However long you've been here, 1 year, 2 years, 1 month, 1 day, doesn't matter. I appreciate you, and I hope that you can stick around for more. Now, I don't know what it is. I don't know if I might have said this last year. I'll probably say it every year, but big things are coming. Excuse me. My mouth is so dry. Big things are coming, are happening. I can feel it. 2024, I'm telling you, things are happening. Things are gonna happen in 2024. Believe me, believe it. Now, what those things are, I don't know what they are, but I have this little, you know, intuition that 2023, that 2024 is the one. And not just the one, you know, but I'm so excited for 2024, which is so crazy. Like, it still blows my mind. Like, the fact that it's Friday today, and then tomorrow Saturday, and then Sunday, and then next week is 2024. Like, what is going on? It's 2024, and I'm just so hyped and excited for what's to come. You know, I believe that my hard work will pay off, whatever that hard work was, but the consistency of posting every, twice a week, twice a week, every month, and now posting every day and me grinding on all these other things might mean nothing, but, to me, we're pushing. I believe the hard work will pay off one day, but at the same time, if nothing happens, then nothing happens. I can live to tell the tale to like my children in a couple of years' time, and maybe however the internet will look like in a couple of years, they can look back and, listen to all these episodes if they want to do that. Probably not, but yeah. Anyway, this isn't a 2024 episode yet, we will talk about 2024 once I've kind of got my head around this year and set my intentions and goals for my life, essentially, and the podcast, and my tenets for 2024. So yeah, this year's been good. It's been tough, it's been rough in many ways, but that's how life goes. That's what it does. That's what she does. Life does that to you. But I definitely, I think, grown in many ways. I think, but also stayed the same. Honestly, I know that people obviously change and grow, but I feel like I've stayed the same. I don't know what to say, but I don't think I've changed all too much this year, which is honestly fine. I'm not like disappointed that I haven't changed, because I like to think that I'm a decent person. That's kind of the goal in life, is to be a good person. But yeah, that's all. That is all. It is literally almost 11 o'clock, so I'm gonna sign out. And I almost said I'm gonna see you in 2024, but we're recording an episode tomorrow. No. Sucks that I couldn't go out today, because I probably won't even go out tomorrow, because the weather's going crazy these days. I think it started to snow, a little bit. So yeah, it was really cold. I was suffering today. I don't know if I said this, but when I went to Publix, firstly I sat and waited for the bus, and I was freezing. I was like, oh my gosh. Oh, look, if you're watching, my plasters are finally, but luckily my blood platelets finally did their job and stopped the bleeding, but it was bleeding the whole afternoon, and I cut my finger this morning. So I was very annoyed by that, and so I went to Publix, what did I buy at Publix, actually? Oh, I bought onion and lemon juice and all that stuff. And as I was waiting for the bus, I sat there. No, I stood there in the cold, holding my plastics, and I was like, it wasn't a low point. It wasn't a low point, because I've had a low point, and it wasn't that. But it was like, wow, this is the life. These are the moments that, make you believe that I can get through anything if I can get through me standing. And I promise you, I think I stood there for 20 minutes, no joke, 20 minutes in the cold. It's like half snowing, and I'm like dying. My hands are cramping, and I can't even hold my plastics anymore, and it was a nightmare. But then the bus came, and then it was warm, and I went back. So all in all, everything ended fine. But that is it, folks. That is all for our 2023 recap episode. I hope it was worth your ears. If not, I apologize. But I hope you had a good time. I hope I had a good time. Today I didn't do much, really. But yeah, tomorrow I'm going to watch a basketball game. Go upstate playing Sunbelt Open, I think. So I'm excited for that. Gonna go out to the tennis court if it's not snowing or raining, and hit some serves, do some conditioning, and that's the plan. That is the plan. So yeah, if you've made it thus far into the episode, I can't even pick my fingers. You already know that you are a real one, and I appreciate you, and I thank you so much for being here, however long you've been here, and I hope that you continue to stay with me, us, this little community that is, forever growing, I like to think. I don't know if that's actually happening, but thank you for being here. I appreciate you and your support if you do. And if you'd like to support the pod, which I would really appreciate, you can do so by following the pod on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcast. You can leave a rating, a review. Let me know what you like, what you didn't like, what you want to see more of, or any other questions you'd like to ask. I would be more than happy to answer those for you. You can also follow the pod on Instagram at NeverLearnPod. I'm posting there every single day during the winter break stint. Reels, posts, so I'd appreciate if you can follow the pod there. Same situation going on Twitter. I would highly really highly appreciate that. Is that how you say it? Whatever. I would appreciate it. So, mwah, mwah, hugs and kisses all around, always. And I will see you on the next one.